Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice of the world. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, India's President Draupadi Murmu is set to address the nation on the eve of the nation's 78th Independence Day. It's an annual practice where the President addresses all citizens directly in both Hindi and English, as well as regional languages in different parts of the country through the national broadcaster Doordarshan and All India Radio. Take a look.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, मैं आप सभी को स्वतंत्रता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ। सभी देशवासी 78वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस का उत्सव मनाने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं। ये देखकर मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है। स्वाधीनता दिवस के अवसर पर लहराते हुए तिरंगे को देखना, चाहे वो लाल किले पर हो, राज्यों की राजधानियों में हो या हमारे आसपास हो, हमारे हृदय को उत्साह से भर देता है। ये उत्सव 140 करोड़ से अधिक देशवासियों के साथ अपने इस महान देश का हिस्सा होने की हमारी खुशी को अभिव्यक्त करता है। जिस तरह हम अपने परिवार के साथ विभिन्न त्यौहार मनाते हैं, उसी तरह हम अपने स्वतंत्रता दिवस और गणतंत्र दिवस को भी अपने उस परिवार के साथ मनाते हैं जिसके सदस्य हमारे सभी देशवासी हैं। 15 अगस्त के दिन देश विदेश में सभी भारतीय ध्वजारोहण समारोह में भाग लेते हैं, देशभक्ति के गीत गाते हैं और मिठाइयाँ बांटते हैं। बच्चे सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम में भाग लेते हैं। जब हम बच्चों को अपने महान राष्ट्र तथा भारतीय होने के गौरव के बारे में बातें करते हुए सुनते हैं, तो उनके उद्गारों में हमें महान स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों की भावनाओं की प्रतिध्वनि सुनाई देती है। हमें ये अनुभव होता है कि हम उस परंपरा का हिस्सा है जो स्वाधीनता सेनानियों के सपनों और उन भावी पीढ़ियों की आकांक्षाओं को एक कड़ी में पिरोते हैं, जो आने वाली वर्षों में हमारे राष्ट्र को अपना संपूर्ण गौरव पुनः प्राप्त करते हुए देखेंगे। इतिहास की इस श्रृंखला की एक कड़ी होने का बोध हमारे अंदर विनम्रता का संचार करता है। ये बोध याद दिलाता है जब हमारा देश विदेशी शासन के अधीन था। राष्ट्रभक्ति और वीरता से ओतप्रोत देश प्रेमियों ने अनेक जोखिम उठाए और सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिए। हम उनकी पावन स्मृति को नमन करते हैं। उनके अथक प्रयासों के बल पर भारत की आत्मा सदियों की नींद से जाग उठी। अंतर्धारा के रूप में सदैव विद्यमान रही हमारी विभिन्न परंपराओं और मूल्यों को पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी हमारे महान स्वाधीनता सेनानियों ने नई अभिव्यक्ति प्रदान की। मार्गदर्शक नक्षत्र की तरह राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी ने स्वाधीनता संग्राम की विभिन्न परंपराओं और उनकी विविध अभिव्यक्तियों को एकजुट किया। साथ ही सरदार पटेल, नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस और बाबा साहेब आम्बेडकर तथा भगत सिंह और चंद्रशेखर आज़ाद जैसे अनेक महान जननायक भी सक्रिय थे। ये एक राष्ट्रव्यापी आंदोलन था जिसमें सभी समुदायों ने भाग लिया। आदिवासियों में तिलका माझी, बिरसा मुंडा, लक्ष्मण नायक और फूलो जानो जैसे कई अन्य लोग थे जिनके बलिदान की आप सराहना हो रही है। हमने भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की जयंती को जनजातीय गौरव दिवस के रूप में मनाना शुरू किया है। अगले वर्ष उनकी 150वीं जयंती का उत्सव राष्ट्रीय पुनर्जागरण में उनके योगदान को और अधिक गहराई से सम्मान देने का अवसर होगा। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज 14 अगस्त को हमारे देश विभाजन विभीषिका स्मृति दिवस मना रहा है। ये विभाजन की भयावहता को याद करने का दिन है। जब हमारे महान राष्ट्रों का विभाजन हुआ तो लाखों लोगों को मजबूरन पलायन करना पड़ा। लाखों लोगों को अपनी जान गंवानी पड़ी। स्वतंत्रता दिवस मनाने से एक दिन पहले हम उस अभूतपूर्व मानवीय त्रासदी को याद करते हैं और उन परिवारों के साथ एकजुट होकर खड़े होते हैं जो छिन्न भिन्न कर दिए गए थे। हम अपने संविधान की 75वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं। हमारी नवस्वाधीन राष्ट्र की यात्रा में गंभीर बाधाएं आई है। न्याय, समानता, स्वतंत्रता और बंधुता के संवैधानिक आदर्शों पर दृढ़ रहते हुए हम इस अभियान के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं कि भारत विश्व पटल पर अपना गौरवशाली स्थान पुनः प्राप्त करे। इस वर्ष हमारे देश में आम चुनाव हुए। कुल मतदाताओं की संख्या लगभग 97 करोड़ थी, जो एक ऐतिहासिक कीर्तिमान है। मानव समुदाय इतिहास की सबसे बड़ी चुनाव प्रक्रिया का साक्षी बने। इस तरह के विशाल आयोजन के सुचारू और त्रुटि रहित संचालन के लिए भारत का निर्वाचन आयोग बधाई के योग्य है। मैं उन सभी कर्मचारियों और सुरक्षा कर्मियों का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ जिन्होंने भीषण गर्मी का सामना करते हुए मतदाताओं की मदद की। इतनी बड़ी संख्या में लोगों द्वारा मताधिकार का प्रयोग करना वस्तुतः लोकतंत्र की विचारधारा का प्रबल समर्थन है। भारत द्वारा सफलतापूर्वक चुनाव आयोजित करने से पूरे विश्व में लोकतांत्रिक शक्तियों को ताकत मिलती है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, वर्ष 2021 से वर्ष 2024 के बीच 8% की औसत वार्षिक वृद्धि दर हासिल करके भारत सबसे तेज गति से बढ़ने वाली बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में शामिल है। इससे न केवल देशवासियों के हाथों में अधिक पैसा आया है, बल्कि गरीबी रेखा से नीचे रहने वाले लोगों की संख्या में भी भारी कमी आई है। जो लोग अभी भी गरीबी से पीड़ित हैं, उनकी सहायता करने के साथ साथ उन्हें गरीबी से बाहर निकालने के लिए भी सभी प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं। उदाहरण के लिए, कोविड-19 के शुरुआती चरण में आरंभ की गई पीएम गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना के तहत लगभग 80 करोड़ लोगों को मुफ्त राशन दिया जा रहा है, जो ये भी सुनिश्चित करते हैं कि जो लोग हाल ही में गरीबी से बाहर आए हैं, उन्हें पुनः गरीबी में जाने से रोका जा सके। ये हम सभी के लिए गर्व की बात है कि भारत दुनिया की 5वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बन गए हैं और हम शीघ्र ही विश्व की 3 शीर्षस्थ अर्थ स्थान प्राप्त करने के लिए तैयार है। ये सफलता किसानों और श्रमिकों की अथक मेहनत, नीति निर्माताओं और उद्यमियों की दूरगामी सोच तथा देश के दूरदर्शी नेतृत्व के बल पर ही संभव हो सकी है। हमारे अन्नदाता किसानों ने उम्मीदों से बेहतर कृषि उत्पादन सुनिश्चित किया है। ऐसा करके उन्होंने भारत को कृषि क्षेत्रों में आत्मनिर्भर बनाने और हमारे देशवासियों को भोजन उपलब्ध कराने में अमूल्य योगदान दिया है। हाल के वर्षों में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को काफ़ी बढ़ावा मिला है। सुविचारित योजनाओं एवं प्रभावी कार्यान्वयन ने सड़कों और राजमार्गों, रेलवे और बंदरगाहों का जाल बिछाने में मदद की है। भावी प्रौद्योगिकी की अद्भुत क्षमता को ध्यान में रखते हुए सरकार ने सेमीकंडक्टर और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जैसे कई क्षेत्रों को बढ़ावा देने पर विशेष बल दिया है। साथ ही स्टार्टअप्स के लिए एक आदर्श इकोसिस्टम भी बनाया है, जिससे उनके विकास को गति मिलेगी। इससे निवेशकों में भारत के प्रति आकर्षण और अधिक बढ़ गया है। बढ़ती हुई पारदर्शिता के साथ बैंकिंग और वित्तीय क्षेत्रों की कार्यकुशलता में वृद्धि हुई है। इन सभी बदलाव में अगले दौर के आर्थिक सुधारों और आर्थिक विकास के लिए मंच तैयार कर दिया है, जहां से भारत विकसित देशों की श्रेणी में शामिल हो जाएगा। तेज गति से हो रही न्यायपरक प्रगति के बल पर वैश्विक परिदृश्यों में भारत का कद ऊंचा हुआ है। G20 की अपनी अध्यक्षता के सफलतापूर्वक संपन्न होने के बाद भारत में ग्लोबल साउथ को मुखर अभिव्यक्ति देने वाले देश के रूप में अपनी भूमिका को मजबूत बनाया है। भारत अपनी प्रभावशाली स्थिति का उपयोग विश्व शांति और समृद्धि के विस्तार हेतु करना चाहता है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हमें संविधान निर्माता डॉक्टर B.R. अम्बेडकर के शब्दों को भी सदैव याद रखना चाहिए। उन्होंने ठीक ही कहा था और मैं उन्हें उद्धृत करती हूँ। हमें अपने राजनीतिक लोकतंत्र को सामाजिक लोकतंत्र भी बनाना चाहिए। राजनीतिक लोकतंत्र तब तक नहीं टिक सकता जब तक कि उसके आधार में सामाजिक लोकतंत्र ना हो। राजनीतिक लोकतंत्र की निरंतर प्रगति से सामाजिक लोकतंत्र को मजबूत करने की दिशा में की गई प्रगति की पुष्टि होती है। समावेशी भावना हमारे सामाजिक जीवन के हर पहलू में अपनी विविधताओं और बहुलताओं के साथ हम एक राष्ट्र के रूप में एकजुट होकर एक साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। समावेश के साधन के रूप में अफर्मेटिव एक्शन को मजबूत किया जाना चाहिए। मैं दृढ़ता के साथ ये मानती हूँ कि भारत जैसे विशाल देश में कथित सामाजिक स्तरों के आधार पर कलहों को बढ़ावा देने वाले प्रवृत्तियों को खारिज करना होगा। सामाजिक न्याय प्राथमिकता है। सरकार ने अनुसूचित जातियों, अनुसूचित जनजातियों और समाज के अन्य हाशियों के वर्गों के कल्याण के लिए अनेक अभूतपूर्व कदम उठाए हैं। उदाहरण के लिए प्रधानमंत्री सामाजिक उत्थान एवं रोजगार आधारित जनकल्याण यानी PM सूरज का उद्देश्य हाशिए पर के लोगों को सीधे वित्तीय सहायता प्रदान करना है। प्रधानमंत्री जनजातीय आदिवासी न्याय महाअभियान यानी PM जनमन ने एक जन अभियान का रूप ले लिया है। इसके तहत विशेष रूप से कमजोर जनजातीय समूह यानी PVTG की सामाजिक आर्थिक स्थितियों में सुधार के लिए निर्णायक कदम उठाया जा रहा है। नेशनल एक्शन फॉर मैकेनाइज्ड सैनिटेशन इकोसिस्टम यानी नमस्ते योजना के तहत यही सुनिश्चित किया जाएगा कि किसी भी सफाई कर्मचारी को सीवर और सेप्टिक टैंक की सफाई के जख्म भरे काम को हाथों से नहीं करना पड़ेगा। न्याय शब्दों के सबसे व्यापक अर्थ में अनेक सामाजिक आयाम सम्मानित हैं। उनमें से 2 आयामों पर मैं विशेष रूप से जोर देना चाहूँगी। वे आयाम हैं स्त्री पुरुष के बीच न्यायपूर्ण समानता तथा क्लाइमेट जस्टिस। हमारे समाज में महिलाओं को केवल समानता का ही नहीं बल्कि समानता से भी ऊपर का दर्जा दिया जाता है। हालांकि उन्हें परंपरागत पूर्वाग्रह का कष्ट भी झेलना पड़ा है, लेकिन मुझे ये जानकर खुशी होती है कि सरकार ने महिला कल्याण और महिला सशक्तिकरण को समान महत्व दिया है। पिछले दशक में इस उद्देश्य के लिए बजट प्रावधान में 3 गुना हुई है। श्रमबल में उनकी भागीदारी बढ़ी है। इस संदर्भ में जन्म के समय बेटियों के अनुपात में हुई उल्लेखनीय सुधार को सबसे उत्साहजनक विकास कहा जा सकता है। महिलाओं को केंद्र में रखते हुए सरकार द्वारा अनेक विशेष योजनाएं भी लागू की गई है। नारी शक्ति बंधन अधिनियम का उद्देश्य महिलाओं का वास्तविक सशक्तिकरण सुनिश्चित करना है। जलवायु परिवर्तन एक यथार्थ का रूप ले चुका है। विकासशील देशों के लिए अपने आर्थिक प्रतिमानों को बदलना और भी अधिक चुनौतीपूर्ण है। फिर भी हमने उस दिशा में आशा से अधिक प्रगति की है। ग्लोबल वार्मिंग के सबसे गंभीर कुप्रभावों से पृथ्वी को बचाने के लिए मानव समुदाय द्वारा किए जा रहे संघर्षों में अग्रणी भूमिका निभाने पर भारत का गर्व है। मैं आप सभी से अनुरोध करती हूँ कि आप अपने जीवन शैली में छोटे छोटे किंतु प्रभावी बदलाव करें तथा जलवायु परिवर्तन की चुनौती का सामना करने में अपना महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दें। न्याय के संदर्भ में मैं ये भी उल्लेख करना चाहती हूँ कि इस वर्ष जुलाई में भारतीय न्याय संहिता को लागू करने में हमने औपनिवेशिक युग के एक और अवशेष को हटा दिया है। नई संहिता का उद्देश्य केवल दंड देने की बजाय अपराध पीड़ितों के लिए न्याय सुनिश्चित करना है। मैं इस बदलाव को स्वाधीनता सेनानियों के प्रति श्रद्धांजलि के रूप में देखती हूँ। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज के युवा हमारी स्वतंत्रता की शताब्दी तक के अमृतकाल को यानी आज से लगभग 1/4 सदी के कालखंड को स्वरूप प्रदान करेंगे। उनकी ऊर्जा और उत्साह के बल पर ही हमारा देश नई ऊंचाई तक पहुंचेगा। युवाओं के मनोमस्तिष्कों को विकसित करना तथा परंपरा एवं समकालीन ज्ञान के सर्वश्रेष्ठ आयामों को ग्रहण करने वाले नई मानसिकता का निर्माण करना हमारी प्राथमिकता है। इस संदर्भ में वर्ष 2020 से लागू की गई राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के परिणाम सामने आ रहे हैं। युवा प्रतिभा का समुचित उपयोग करने के लिए सरकार ने कौशल रोजगार तथा अन्य अवसरों को सुलभ बनाने के लिए पहल की है। रोजगार और कौशल के लिए प्रधानमंत्री की 5 योजनाओं के माध्यम से 5 वर्षों में 4 करोड़ 10 लाख युवाओं को लाभ मिलेगा। सरकार की एक नई पहल से 5 वर्षों में 1 करोड़ युवा अग्रणी कंपनियों में इंटर्नशिप करेंगे। ये सभी कदम विकसित भारत के निर्माण में आधारभूत योगदान देंगे। भारत में हम विज्ञान और प्रौद्योगिकी को ज्ञान की खोज के साथ साथ मानवीयतापूर्ण प्रगति के साधन के रूप में देखते हैं। उदाहरण के लिए डिजिटल एप्लीकेशन के क्षेत्र में हमारी उपलब्धियों का उपयोग अन्य देशों में टेम्पलेट के रूप में किया जा रहा है। हाल के वर्षों में भारत ने अंतरिक्ष अनुसंधान के क्षेत्र में अभूतपूर्व प्रगति की है। आप सभी के साथ में भी अगले साल होने वाले गगनयान मिशन के शुभारंभ की उत्सुकता से प्रतीक्षा कर रही हूँ। इस मिशन के तहत भारत के पहले मानव अंतरिक्ष यान में भारतीय अंतरिक्ष टीम को अंतरिक्ष में ले जाया जाएगा। खेल के जगत भी एक ऐसा क्षेत्र है जिसमें हमारे देश ने पिछले दशक में बहुत प्रगति की है। सरकार ने खेल के बुनियादी ढांचे के विकास को समुचित प्राथमिकता दी है और इसके परिणाम सामने आ रहे हैं। हाल ही में संपन्न पेरिस ओलंपिक खेलों में भारतीय दल ने अपना उत्कृष्ट प्रयास किया। मैं खिलाड़ियों की निष्ठा और परिश्रम की सराहना करती हूँ। उन्होंने युवाओं में प्रेरणा का संचार किया है। क्रिकेट में भारत ने T20 विश्व कप जीता, जिससे बड़ी संख्या में क्रिकेट प्रेमी आनंदित हुए। शतरंज में विलक्षण प्रतिभा वाले युवा खिलाड़ियों ने देश को गौरवान्वित किया है। इसे शतरंज में भारतीय युग का आरंभ माना जा रहा है। बैडमिंटन, टेनिस और अन्य खेलों में हमारे युवा खिलाड़ी विश्व मंच पर अपनी पहचान बना रहे हैं। उनकी उपलब्धियों ने अगले पीढ़ी को भी प्रेरित किया है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, पूरा देश स्वतंत्रता दिवस मनाने के लिए तत्पर है। इस उल्लासपूर्ण अवसर पर मैं आप सबको एक बार फिर बधाई देती हूँ। मैं सेनाओं के उन बहादुर जवानों को विशेष बधाई देती हूँ जो अपनी जान का जोखिम उठाते हुए भी हमारे स्वतंत्रता की रक्षा करते हैं। मैं पुलिस और सुरक्षा बलों के कर्मियों को बधाई देती हूँ जो पूरे देश में सतर्कता बनाए रखते हैं। मैं न्यायपालिका और सिविल सेवाओं के सदस्यों के साथ साथ विदेशों में नियुक्त हमारे दूतावासों के कर्मियों को भी अपनी शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ। हमारे प्रवासी समुदाय को भी मेरी शुभकामनाएं। आप सब हमारे परिवार का हिस्सा है। आपने अपनी उपलब्धियों से हमें गौरवान्वित किया है। आप सब विदेशों में भारत की संस्कृति और विरासत का गर्व के साथ प्रतिनिधित्व करते हैं। एक बार फिर मेरी ओर से सभी को स्वाधीनता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत। My dear fellow citizens, I extend to you all my heartiest Independence Day greetings. I am delighted to see the nation prepared to celebrate the 78th Independence Day, witnessing the tricolor unfurled on this occasion, be it at the Red Fort, at state capital, or in local neighborhoods, always thrills our hearts. It is an expression of the joy of being part of our great nation along with more than 1.4 billion fellow Indians. Just as we celebrate various festivals with our families, we celebrate our Independence Day and Republic Day with our family that comprises our fellow citizens. On 15th of August, in all parts of the country and also abroad, Indians participate in the flag hosting ceremonies, sing patriotic songs, and distribute sweets. Young children participate in cultural events. When we hear them talking about our great nation and about the privilege of being a citizen of it, we find in their words echoes of what our great freedom fighters used to say. Then we realize that we are part of a chain that binds the dreams of those who participated in the freedom struggle and the aspirations of those who will witness the nation regaining its full glory in the years to come. Realizing that we are links of this chain of history is humbling. It makes us recall the days when the nation was under a foreign rule. Patriotic and brave souls took immense risks and made supreme sacrifices. We salute their memory. Thanks to their unceasing labor, the soul of India awoke from centuries of torpor. Different traditions and values that had continued to live on beneath the surface found new expressions in several generations of great leaders. Unifying the diversity of traditions and their expressions was Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation and our lodestar. Alongside, there were great leaders like Sardar Patel, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar, as well as Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, and many others. It was a nationwide movement in which all communities participated. Among tribals, there were Tilka Machi, Birsa Munda, Lakshman Naik, and Phulo Jano, among many more whose sacrifices are now being appreciated. We have started celebrating the birth anniversary of Bhagwan Birsa Munda as Janajatiya Gaurav Divas. Celebrations of his 150th birth anniversary next year will be an opportunity to further honor his contribution to the national reawakening. My dear fellow citizens, today on 14th August, the nation is observing Vibhajan Vibhishika Smriti Divas, a day to recall partition horrors. As the great nation was divided, millions had to suffer forced migration. Lakhs of people lost their lives. A day before we celebrate Independence Day, we recall that unparalleled human tragedy and stand with the families that were torn asunder. We are celebrating the 75th year of the Constitution. The journey of the newly independent nation was not without obstacles. Remaining firm on the constitutional ideals of justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity, we are on the mission to enable India to reclaim its rightful position on the global stage. As general elections were held in our country this year, the number of eligible voters stood at nearly 97 crore. This was a historic record, making it the largest electoral exercise humankind has ever witnessed. The Election Commission of India should be congratulated for the smooth and flawless conduct of such a gigantic event. I thank all officials and security personnel who braved the heat and helped electors when such a large number of people exercise their franchise. It is a resounding vote for the idea of democracy. India's successful conduct of elections strengthens democratic forces around the world. Dear fellow citizens, from 2021 to 2024, India has been among the fastest growing major economies with an average growth rate of 8% annually. This has not only put more money in the hands of people, it has also drastically reduced the number of people living below the poverty line. As for those who continue to suffer from poverty, all efforts are being made not only to provide a helping hand to them, but also to bring them out of it. For example, the PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, launched in the initial phase of COVID-19, continues to provide free ration to about 80 crore people, which also ensures that those who have recently come out of poverty are not forced back into it. It is a matter of pride for all that India has become the fifth largest economy in the world, and we are also poised to become one of the top three economies soon. This has been made possible only by tireless hard work of farmers and workers, by the farsightedness of planners and wealth creators, and by the visionary leadership. Farmers, our Annadata, have ensured that agricultural production continues to beat expectations. With this, they have contributed immensely to making India self-reliant in agriculture and feed our people. Infrastructure has received a boost in recent years. Strategic planning and effective institutions have helped expand the network of roads and highways, railways, as well as ports. Considering the great potential of futuristic technology, the government has vigorously promoted a range of sectors such as semiconductors and artificial intelligence, while also creating an ideal ecosystem for startups which will propel their growth. It has made India an even more attractive investment destination. With greater transparency, the banking and financial sector has become much more efficient. All of these factors have set the stage for the next generation of economic reforms and economic growth that will catapult India among the developed nations. This rapid but equitable progress has given India a higher stature in global affairs. After the successful completion of its G20 presidency, India has consolidated its role as the voice of the global south. India intends to use its influential position to expand the scope of world peace and prosperity. My dear fellow citizens, we must remember the words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the architect of our Constitution. He had rightly said, and I quote, "We must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy." Unquote. The steady progress of political democracy testifies to the progress made towards the consolidation of social democracy. The spirit of inclusion pervades every aspect of our social life. We move together as a cohesive nation with our diversity and plurality. Affirmative action must be strengthened as an instrument of inclusion. I firmly believe that in a vast country like ours, tendencies that stoke discord based upon perceived social hierarchy have to be rejected. Social justice is a top priority of the government, and it has taken a number of unprecedented initiatives for the welfare of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other marginalized sections of society. प्रधानमंत्री सामाजिक उत्थान एवं रोजगार आधारित जनकल्याण, that is PM Suraj, for example, aims to provide direct financial assistance to the people from the marginalized communities. The Pradhan Mantri जनजातीय आदिवासी न्याय महाअभियान or PM Janman has taken the form of a mass campaign for critical intervention to improve socio-economic conditions of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, that is PVTGs. The National Action for Mechanized Sanitation Ecosystem or the Namaste scheme will ensure that no sanitation workers will have to manually engage in the hazardous task of sewer and septic tank cleaning. The term justice taken in the broadest possible sense includes a variety of social factors. I would like to stress two of them in particular, namely gender justice and climate justice. In our society, women are considered not only equal but even more than equal. However, they have also suffered from traditional prejudices, but I am glad to note that the government has given equal importance to women's welfare and women's empowerment. The budget allocation for this purpose has more than tripled in the last decade. Their participation in the labor force has increased. The most heartening development on this front has been the significant improvement in the sex ratio at birth. A variety of special government schemes have also been designed keeping the women at the center. Nari Shakti Bandhan Adhiniyam is aimed at ensuring real empowerment of women. Climate change has become a reality. It is all the more challenging for developing nations to change their economic paradigm. Yet we have already made more progress in that direction than expected. India is proud to be at the forefront of humankind's battle to save the planet from the worst effects of global warming. I also urge you all to make small but effective changes in your lifestyle and contribute to the cause of dealing with the challenge of climate change. Speaking of justice, let me also mention here that in adopting the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita from July this year, we have removed one more relic of the colonial era. The new code is oriented towards ensuring justice for the victims of crime instead of focusing on punishment alone. I see this change as a tribute to the freedom fighters. My dear fellow citizens, the Amrit Kal, the ongoing period of a quarter century leading to the centenary of our independence, is going to be shaped by the youth of today. It is their energy and enthusiasm that will help the nation scale new heights. Cultivating the young minds and creating a new mindset that takes the best of the traditions and the contemporary knowledge is our priority. To this end, the National Education Policy launched since 2020 has already started showing results. To harness their talent, the government has come up with initiatives to facilitate skilling, employment and other opportunities for them. The Prime Minister's package of 5 schemes for employment and skilling with benefit 4.1 crore youth over 5 years. Under a new initiative of the government, 1 crore youth will be doing internship in leading companies over 5 years. All this will be a foundational contribution towards building Viksit Bharat. In India, we view science and technology as part of the quest for knowledge as well as instrument for humanitarian progress. Our achievements in the field of digital applications, for example, are being used as templates in other countries. In recent years, India has made unprecedented advances in space exploration. Along with you all, I also eagerly look forward to the launch of the Gaganyaan mission next year, which will take a team of Indian astronauts into space aboard India's first human space flight. The world of sports is another arena in which the country has made great progress in the last decade. The government has rightly prioritized the development of sports infrastructure, and it is showing results. The Indian contingent put up its best efforts in the recently concluded Paris Olympic Games. I appreciate the dedication and hard work of the players. They have inspired the youth. In cricket, India won the T20 World Cup to the great joy of a large number of fans. In chess, our prodigies have made the country proud. This is said to be the beginning of an Indian era in chess. In badminton, tennis, and other sports, our young stars are making a mark on the world stage. Their achievements have inspired the next generation too. My dear fellow citizens, with the nation all set to celebrate Independence Day, let me once again extend my greetings to you, particularly our brave jawans of armed forces who guard our freedom, risking their lives. I convey my greetings to the police and security personnel who keep vigil all across the country. I also extend my greetings to the members of the judiciary and the civil services, as well as the officials of our missions abroad. My greetings also to our diaspora. You are part of our family, making us proud with your achievements. You are great representatives of India's culture and heritage. Once again, I wish everyone a very happy Independence Day. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Well, you just saw India's President Draupadi Murmu addressing the nation on the eve of the 78th Independence Day. She highlighted the country's growth as the largest economy, that is the fifth largest economy in the world, and how Prime Minister Modi's efforts have been to reduce the number of people living below the poverty line. The President greeted the nation on Independence Day Eve. That was the first thing that she did in the course of her speech in both Hindi and English. And she said India echoes the words of our great freedom fighters. She mentioned the fact that the 14th of August, which is today, is observed as Partition Horrors Remembrance Day, and the sacrifices that all those people made when the nation was cleaved into two. India is celebrating the 75th year of its constitution as well. She made a note of that. India is among the fastest growing major economies of the world and is the fifth largest economy in the world as well, is what she mentioned. She also mentioned that it will soon become the third largest as well. And she noted the contribution of farmers in making India self-reliant in agriculture. And she also mentioned that India very successfully completed its G20 presidency and how it's really putting forth its role as a leader of the global south as well. She also said that women earlier were not considered equal, but now they've become more than equal. She talked about climate change and how it's a huge challenge for humanity and the nation, and how India is making efforts to tackle it as well. And she is saying that the centenary of India's independence is to be shaped by the youth of today, that is till 2047, is what has been dubbed by Prime Minister Modi as Amrit Kal, a lot to be achieved in that time period. And she's mentioned about how the Prime Minister's package is going to benefit 41 million youth over 5 years, because internships will be given to them in the private sector as well. Now, let's just play out for you as well what the President said. And addressing the nation on the eve of the 78th Independence Day, President Draupadi Murmu highlighted the country's growth as the largest economy and how Prime Minister Modi's efforts have been to reduce the number of people living below the poverty line.
From 2021 to 2024, India has been among the fastest growing major economies, with an average growth rate of 8% annually. This has not only put more money in the hands of people, it has also drastically reduced the number of people living below the poverty line.
Across to our expert guest to talk about this further, the speech of the President on the eve of India's 78th Independence Day. She has just addressed the nation. Praful Ketkar is with us. He's editor-organizer, joining us now. Thank you for joining us this evening, Praful Ketkar. What were your first impressions about the President's speech, how she encapsulated India's journey, how it began and where it stands now?
So, broadly, we can see this speech in three parts. Firstly, she, paid tribute to our freedom fighters and remembering the way we attained our independence, and it is rightly so. But more important than that, what we have done in last 77 years as a nation, our commitment to the constitutional law, our commitment to democracy, and the three things that she specifically mentioned: social justice, gender justice, and climate justice. I think these are three critical words that essentially show our commitment to, certain values and principles. And at the same time, the economic, achievements that we are making in last few years, post-COVID scenario, we are the fastest growing economy in the world, and obviously it has a social and economic impact. Infrastructurally, we are doing good. And she has mentioned about the role of farmers, the role of even sports persons, our diaspora. So it was a speech of, I would say, of the past, the present, and the future. All the dimensions of thought process while celebrating the Independence Day she has covered.
Yes, Praful, and also she mentioned how India has been able to establish itself as a global player as well, not just because of the G20 presidency, but by becoming an effective voice of the Global South too.
Absolutely. The way we stood for the African countries, the rights of developing countries at the level of WTO, like negotiations, the patent-related issues, even the vaccine Maitri, that was our, kind of trademark kind of initiative, which helped many developing countries to get access to vaccine when most of the developed countries were actually looking for some kind of patents and profit through the vaccines. So our approach to the foreign policy is relatively different, and it shows our civilizational ethos based on the principles of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It's more of a familial kind of globalization rather than just market globalization. So it's the virtue of one of the oldest civilizations on this earth, and mother of democracy. We are putting forth a different kind of foot on the global stage as an emerging power.
Yes, and she very clearly and very succinctly also mentioned the kind of efforts that have been made to make India a more attractive investment destination, which is, of course, geared towards producing more jobs for India's youth too. She mentioned both artificial intelligence, semiconductors. The other thing that she mentioned was startups, and overall making India better investment destination. So there is a lot of progress that is being made on that front, but we can expect more to unfold in the coming days as well.
Oh, certainly. See, the way the entire initiative related to the national education policy is unfolding, the new generation is coming with more flexibility, more open approach to technology and social issues. So it will be more solution-oriented learning for the students, and it will certainly have an impact. So the ADP, the expansion of semiconductor industry, the AI, and the kind of youth power we have. We are the youngest country in the world, and that is why we have. So we are not just the market; we are also the service provider to the world. And hopefully, it will turn into not just the service provider, but also a manufacturing hub on certain products, so that people will not see only as a market, but also a critical part of a critical supply chain at the world level.
And she also mentioned the national education policy as well, Praful, in a particular context of how it's starting to show results with regard to cultivating young minds and creating a new mindset. What exactly was she indicating there?
See, the two things that are happening. One is, our approach toward education is changing. Like in the context of law, she said our criminal laws, have changed, and it is a tribute to our freedom fighters. Similarly, our education system now is more in tune with the social and national needs. So instead of just the job providers, sorry, the job seekers. Now the youngsters are looking for startups. They are looking to make themselves, develop their businesses as unicorns. So it is more industry incentive and innovation based business approach that Indian youth are, trying to inculcate. And hopefully, with the kind of schemes that we are making, it has given more flexibility also. So you have always a chance to make a comeback in the education field to upgrade your skills, your knowledge base. So you have more, education system which is more in tune with the changing times rather than having a more structured approach.
Right, certainly. And in terms of how, again, social justice, even extending social justice further and not restricting it to particular segments of society, the underprivileged one, she also talked about how the Yojana, the scheme for giving food grain to about 800 million people, which was begun in COVID times, has been extended even further to ensure that people do not fall back into tougher times which they've just emerged from.
Yeah, yeah. See, the social justice for the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, even the extreme marginalized sections of society who did not have the benefit of any of these categories, and especially even women. And that's why this, food security is a very, very critical issue. During COVID time and until today, we at one point, when we attained independence, we were importing food grains from outside, and we were highly dependent on those imports. Now it shows that on the one hand, we are importing food grains and we are providing it to our own population free of cost, so that at least basic food security is ensured. That is a phenomenal achievement of last 77 years. And while celebrating our Independence Day, we certainly have to keep that in mind.
Certainly. And in terms of taking things forward into Amritkal, that sort of a track has also been laid. What sort of indications did we get from the President's speech about, the way ahead?
See, if we really want to keep the trajectory, the point she made about the social justice and the social democracy, she reminded the statement by Dr. Ambedkar that our success of our political democracy Of course, she reminded us about the role of the election commission, and she congratulated all the officers and the security personnel who successfully conducted the general elections, which was a massive, massive exercise accompanied by social democracy. We have made strides. Certainly, we have made. It is more inclusive now. We are reaching to the last man in the line for voting right. But when it comes to the opportunities, there are not many things to be done. Indirectly, Honorable Rashtrapati has actually indicated towards it that in the next 25 years, our success story, besides this, infrastructural development, sustained growth rate, AI and other digitization related achievements in sports sector. How far we move forward in that direction of convergence of political democracy with social democracy, that is going to be the key factor, and I believe should be the mantra for our Amrit.
Yes, certainly. And she mentioned women as well, particularly how the sex ratio has been improving. What sort of an indicator is that of the way progress is being made on multiple fronts in the country?
See, we have seen, when these schemes like, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao kind of scheme, you need to save girl child and educate girl child. Uh, uh, in states like Haryana, in states like Rajasthan, we have seen a tremendous improvement. Somewhere in 800s, now we are into 900s, 1,000. In villages, we have seen in many constituencies, many states, even the so-called backward states, we have seen women voters outnumbering male voters. That clearly shows, even in the sectors, the way they are breaking glass ceiling, the way they are entering into new fields. Take it defense, take it astronomy, take it research, digitization. You name any field, and you will find the presence of women there. How far we make it convenient for women coming from a very ordinary background, even from the rural or tribal areas. That is the challenge that we still have to overcome. So, but we are now heading towards, the Nari Shakti bill has been introduced. So hopefully we will have more political representation, which we have already started at the grassroots level, but even at the parliament level now, hopefully we will see that. So in coming days, she has rightly said that now we are heading for more than equality. So the concept of justice is not about the absolute equality, but more equitable solutions to social challenges. And as a democracy, we are finding or we are trying to find our own solutions for more equitable distribution and more just society.
And she also mentioned, particularly for the youth, measures that have been taken in the recent union budget itself, such as internships in private companies. Million youth. That is something also that has created quite a lot of ripples all around, not just in the country, perhaps the entire world.
Oh, yes. But please see, one of the major issues with our education system, which we, in a way, we have inherited from the colonial times, has been, the government-centric job. So on-job training or on-job experience is a very limited opportunity in our earlier education system. With any kind of flexibility and the kind of internship program that we are introducing with this budget now, with a special assistance even for the MSMEs to recruit new people and giving them a kind of holiday of 3 months when it comes to the provident fund of those new employees. These are very innovative ways to encourage employment through entrepreneurship. So government jobs in any society would be limited. It has to be limited. Wealth has to be generated. This wealth has to be created. It has to be outside the government sector. Otherwise, everybody would be taking money from the government, but nobody would be giving. So it is the industry that generates wealth. It is the entrepreneurship, it is the innovation, it is the services, it is the manufacturing. So how far our students and youngsters get a hands-on experience to be part of this larger process of getting hands-on experience. That is, I think, is the real challenge that, and how hopefully NEP plus this kind of budgetary innovations would enable our millions of youth to get that kind of exposure and experience.
Yeah, certainly. And she also mentioned, because the Olympics have just concluded in Paris, she mentioned India's recent sporting achievements as well, from cricket to, of course, what happened at the Olympics.
Oh, yes. Of course, we have made strides. There were certain pieces this Olympic, but the spirit was there. The competitive spirit was there. The schemes where Indian sports had changed. The complete scenario had changed. The way we are trying to hit the podium, we are targeting certain games. We are providing special training. If necessary, we are sending our sports person to some countries, assisting them with foreign coaches. So it's a holistic approach to the field of sports. There is a lesser bureaucracy also now in the sports management. So sports is now more sports centric and sports person centric. Their needs and their psychological support is considered as more important. So certainly we have reformed the sports sector. There is a lot of scope to move forward. So we are 140 more than billion, that kind of population. We certainly can do better. But this encouragement from the head of the state is always necessary. So she specifically mentioning about the chess, about the cricket, and the performance of our sports persons at the Olympic level. This is a really great reminder. While celebrating independence, they certainly add glory to the nation, and that's why we should appreciate their efforts and achievements and stand by them.
Certainly, certainly. Professor Ketkar, thank you so much for joining us to talk about the President's speech on the eve of independence, the 78th Independence Day of our nation. Thank you. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen and download the app now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.